Those Were the Days is filmed before a live internet audience.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Those Were the Days, the show where we mine the depths of old TV looking for gems. It's still spooky season, and tonight I'm doubling down on the scary, but I'm too frightened to go it alone. I'll need some help. We have the creepy and kooky Audie.
You know, it takes a very special kind of person to use a bayonet as a pumpkin carving knife. A very special kind of person.
The mysterious and spooky Travis.
You rang?
And our very own member of the Addams family, the altogether ooky Steven.
It's difficult to have the last name that I have and not know about TV's creepy, kooky, and altogether ooky family. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of creepy and kooky relatives. Well, unless you count Uncle Mavis. He could paint the most beautiful landscapes with his toes. Or Great Aunt Beatrice, who once ate a live rattlesnake from nose to tail. Then there was my second cousin twice removed. We call him Pea-Hat. I don't know why. He used to swing from a tree with his tail. Come to think of it, maybe they were more alike than I thought.
Yes, that's right. Tonight, I've doubled down again. Last year for the Halloween episode, I picked Bewitched, and this year we're doing the Halloween episode of the Addams Family. Now I'm going to start out by saying that the age that I am, Raul Julia and Angelica Houston will forever be my Gomez and Morticia. But the beautiful thing about the Addams Family is that every representation is actually phenomenal. Um, the Wednesday show, spectacular. The recent animated film, if you have not seen it, absolutely worth your time. And of course, this classic, based off of the cartoon, the comic by Chaz Addams. Um, which the fun part about a lot of the modern casting is that they are very much going back to the original artwork, which I
Yes.
think is super
Mm-hmm.
cool. Um, I love the Addams Family. I will say that in terms of the old TV shows, I was more of a Munsters child than an Addams Family child. Mostly because they weren't Raul Julia and Angelica Houston. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like
Yes.
I was like, no,
Right.
no, no, this is incorrect.
Mm-hmm.
At the time. But so I wanna know where everybody else is in the Addams Family canon. And we'll start with poor Steven.
You can start with poor Steven.
Poor
As an Adams,
Steven.
I was in second grade, I think, when the Adams Family movie came out with Raul Julia and Angelica Houston playing Gomez and Morticia. So that too is my Adams Family. It was also when kids started falling around the hall, snapping their fingers. Because boy,
Mhm.
that was fun. As an adult, that sounds like a great idea. Like, I mean, attention, yes, please. But in second grade, I was like, this isn't funny anymore. But no, it was they too were mine. Which, like you, it was weird when I was a kid to know that there was a black and white TV show with people that weren't them. Um,
Yeah.
that was
Right.
that was a strange. I'm like, wait, who are these people? They're not the Adams Family. I remember loving that movie as a kid, but didn't know much about the show. I too watched the Munsters because really that was what was on Nick at Night on reruns. That was my
Yeah.
spooky family. But as a grown up watching this, not to bury the lead, but this show's pretty talented. It's got what it's a good one.
I also had really long, thick hair when I was a kid, and it was either in my face or in two braids. So I was either Cousin It or Wednesday, depending on the mood. Uh, Audie, how about you?
I'm kind of in the same boat as you. Like the Adams Family movie with Raul Julia and Angelica Houston is pretty much my Adams Family. I don't remember watching this show, but I definitely remember the cartoon versions on Scooby Doo every once in a while.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Yep.
we've done that. We've covered that before. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I knew about the comic afterwards and followed it. But yeah, I definitely when it came to spooky TV, the Munsters were more the ones that I followed, and not these guys as much. But this was definitely fun to watch.
I haven't checked lately because for a while the Munsters was not available. And it was like a bummer. There was one October where it was streaming somewhere, and I did watch the Munsters in its entirety, which was a good time. I'll have to
Yeah.
go see now that more and more things are kind of peeking back out.
It's
Travis,
kinda
how about you?
So, okay, first of all, I'm gonna just say, Raul Julia, Angelica Houston, they were my Adamses. I mean,
I mean, it was
that
a
was the thing. Like,
formative time for all of us. Like
it
we're
was a
all,
very formative time.
Yeah.
Like, one of my first celebrity crushes was Christina Ricci because I was about the same age as her
yeah,
in
Mhm.
the Addams Family. So I'm like, all right, here we go. And maybe that's where my, penchant for goth girls came from,
sure.
most likely. Um, I did actually watch the Addams Family. I remember the show before the movie actually came out. I do remember seeing syndication of it. I watched it and the Munsters kind of back and forth. I didn't really have a side that I liked more,
Yeah.
um, because like I loved Uncle Fester and I loved the light bulb gag and all of that kind of stuff. But then like um, Eddie Munster, I liked more than Pugsley
Sure.
because there was
Yeah.
just something about
Yeah.
him.
Mhm.
I
So
mean,
you know it.
Pugsley's like a wishy-washy foil for Wednesday.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but I absolutely adored it, and I did not know until quite a while later that because I knew at some point that there was the comic, but I did not know that the names and everything came from the show. That they weren't
Mm.
named in the comic; they were unnamed characters um, in like single panel comics. And then when the show was being produced, they asked Charles Adams, "Hey, these characters need names," and so he gave some ideas for names, and they chose them based on that. And Pugsley was almost called Pubert,
Mhm.
which then
Oh,
became
snap.
a character they used later for Adams Family Values.
Yeah.
And but yeah, like when I think of John Aston, I think of John Aston as Gomez.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like
For
Raul
sure.
Julia is my Gomez, but
Mhm.
the next one is John
John
Aston, and
Aston
that's all.
is also
Yeah,
John Aston, who like 3 days ago turned 94.
Oh, man. That's
okay.
so good to hear.
Here's something
Stay
I learned
alive.
today.
Yeah.
So he turned 94. He is the only living main cast member from this show left.
I'm
Ooh.
not
Including the
All the
kids?
rest of them
surprised.
passed away. The kids both passed away. Wednesday, I can't think of her name now. She just passed away like a little over a year and a half ago in 2023. Um,
Lisa Lord.
but yeah, and but Ted Cassidy was only 49 when he died in like the early 80s.
Mhm.
Carolyn Jones was late 80s.
Wow.
All that. So yeah, John Aston's the only one left. And funny thing, I thought this was incredibly ironic, was Gomez is always putting stuff out in his pocket. Like in this episode, we saw him light a cigar and then just
Yeah.
put the lit match in his pocket, and he would always put lit cigars in there.
Yep.
They lined that pocket with asbestos in his suit. So he had an asbestos pocket in his suit, and yet he's the one that's still alive.
Listen, if he comes down with mesothelioma, he may be entitled to compensation.
Oh, that's really good. I mean, as long as it's sealed and he doesn't aerosolize the asbestos,
Right.
it's
He's not
fine.
sniffing it. He's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this episode, Halloween with the Addams Family,
Mm,
from season 1, which I think is great.
Mhm.
I think it's great that they are like, no, we're doing a Halloween episode, right up front. One of the things I love about the Addams Family and the Munsters both, right, is it's the joke of the like oh, here's this weird family and they're so weird and everything about them is strange. And like one of the main characteristics is how much the husband and wife love each other.
Oh, just love each other.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
My
just real good.
favorite thing.
You
Mhm.
know, look, caring engaged fathers. How dare they?
Yeah, the family
I love
loves each
that.
other. They're involved with their kids. They're like
Yep.
Mhm.
everything in their house is what we would hope to aspire to, and
Yeah.
everything that comes in is the chaos versus the other way
Yes.
around. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
All
love
right.
it.
So it's Halloween, and they are, of course, as you do, they're hanging around the house. Lurch is playing the harpsichord. Morticia is knitting, which gets real good. It gets
Oh, yeah.
real good by the end of the episode. And I am 90% sure she was actually knitting.
Yeah. I
Um,
think so.
Nice.
Is that what you
And
do
the
when you're
kids are
like you're a craft person like that? Is like I watch musicians on shows. I'm like, he's not playing guitar. He's not playing
Yeah.
guitar.
Yeah.
You do that with
Yeah.
people making
I mean,
quilts and stuff.
I'm not like a big knitter, but I was
you
like
know.
watching, especially in that last scene of the episode, and I was like, I'm pretty sure she's knitting.
Yeah, you can tell. There's very obvious I'm pretending to knit versus I am knitting
Yeah.
kind of movements.
Yeah.
It's like guitar players when low notes, they're way up the neck, like pretending they're
Yeah, yeah,
wailing,
yeah.
and you're like, that's
You're
not
like,
how
no,
that works.
that's not it.
Yeah.
The kids are playing with Uncle Fester, and the mail horn goes off. And Wednesday tells Lurch, I'll get the mail. So to get the mail, she goes to the other room, and Thing pops out of a box to hand her the mail, which is a package and a letter. I forgot that in these days before digital trickery, it was just a grown ass man's hand coming out of a box.
Yeah, I forgot about
Like
that.
I did
Yep.
forget that part.
Not just a man's hand
No,
though. It
like
was
his
it was
whole
Ted
arm.
Cassidy. It
Mhm.
was
Yes.
Lurch. Lurch's
Yeah.
hand was
Really?
most of the time Thing. If Lurch had to be in a scene with Thing, they had another like production assistant or somebody that would do it. But it was usually Ted Cassidy's right arm, and occasionally he'd use his left arm just to see if people
Just to
noticed.
be weird.
That's amazing.
So good. So in the package, Gomez has received his new carving knife. Wednesday, true to form, asks if she can use it to play autopsy.
Which I want to know, like, what is she autopsying?
I mean, probably Pugsley.
That's true.
I mean, if other things, if everything else plays along, it's probably Pugsley.
This is fun stuff because thinking about Wednesday hurting Pugsley, was it in the animated movie where they explained the Addams curse? Was that an Addams can never hurt another Addams? And that was why
Oh yeah.
Wednesday could do these wild things to Pugsley and he would always be okay. And I thought that was the coolest explanation to how they could get
Yeah.
away with all this stuff. It's still out there, but it's perfect. And I love
It's great because
yeah.
it is an explanation. Like the movies didn't give an explanation; he just survived it. Because we weren't able to record last week because my internet went out, so I decided to watch the 1991 movie.
Oh, so good.
And like she electrocutes Pugsley in that.
Yeah, she
like straight
does.
up in the
Mhm.
electric
In the
chair,
electric
and he's
chair.
fine.
Yeah.
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 Morticia's
That-
like, no, come down to dinner. She's like, please. All right,
That
fine.
movie holds up so
Oh, it's
well.
so
So
good.
well.
It's one of the early 90s movies like Ninja Turtles, the first one that you watch and you're just like, holy crap, this is
Yep.
We were
just as
doing
good.
something.
Yeah.
I love that they put Christina Ricci in the first season of Wednesday. I love
Yeah.
that so much.
Yes.
They did a great job.
Mm-hmm.
Gomez says, no, this is for art. Like autopsy's great, but this is for art. But it needs to be sharpened. Or he has really tough hair. One of the two.
I love John Astin so much in this role because he has this
So
face
good.
that
Mhm.
just says, I am up to something at all times. But it's
And
I'm up to something and you're going to love it kind of face
Yep.
all
Exactly.
the time.
there's a good they go around a lot these days, right? And it's the like, not all men. No, you're right. Gomez Addams would never. And it's all about like, talking about how Gomez is the perfect man because, this is how you get your goth girl, right? Is you just love everything. You
Mhm.
love your life, you
Yeah.
love everything. You love your friends. You just,
Yeah.
go and he's so good at that.
Mm-hmm.
Because that part of the like the characters between all of the representations, I feel like they're very true
Yeah.
to the characters. You know what
Oh
I
yeah,
mean?
Mhm.
absolutely.
Yeah, they might
Um,
like embellish certain parts of it one
sure.
over the other, but it always comes down to this core truth of this like family unit that thrives and cares about each other. Like that's
Yeah.
Yep.
always at the heart of it.
And I think it helps too that like there was for this show there was a palpable attraction between Carolyn Jones and John Aston. Like you
Yes.
can
Mhm.
tell they even if they're like they're not together, but you
Mhm.
can tell like if the situation were right, they would be
I mean, they
because
love each
they.
other. Like,
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
this is not a Laverne and Shirley situation.
No.
Right.
God, I
Oh,
hope it's not.
boy.
That
No,
would be
from
Let's
so
everything
devastating.
from everything that I was reading about it, no, they actually got along really really well. And John Aston said like there was an instant attraction between them, but they kept everything professional.
mm-hmm.
But they would use that
Yeah.
to inform their characters.
Mhm.
Love
Look,
it.
I'm a straight dude, and if John Aston looked at me sideways, be like, dang, that guy, he's cool. He's just charismatic. He just the way he carries himself. It's the same thing with Carolyn
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
Jones. Like
yeah.
they both are very charismatic individuals.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so Morticia is using her big grinding wheel to sharpen the knife for him. And even even the deep dark Addams family cannot resist the allure of wicker furniture. And her big giant wicker
Oh
chair,
yeah.
which I
Oh yeah.
did love.
That,
I was like,
that thing is amazing.
it's a
Apparently, she
good
got to keep
chair.
that after the show.
That's a
Like they
good
gave that to
chair.
her.
I would have taken it regardless. um So Uncle Fester is going to pose for this work of art that Gomez is going to carve. And there's a lot of ridiculous posing happening. It goes on
Mhm.
for like a while, like a
It's a
while.
very long gag.
It's very
Mhm.
long.
Mhm.
There's
Oh yeah.
a lot of ratcheting noises.
It's the
um
screwball comedy side of the show just
yes.
getting loose
Mhm.
Yeah,
right
for
here.
sure.
Yeah. Um and so Gomez is like carving away, like you can't see, like his back is turned, and he's working on this masterpiece, and he's like almost there. And he steps away, and it is a bog standard jack-o'-lantern.
It got me so good. I wrote down that's the
Triangle
best
eye.
gag.
So good.
It's fantastic.
I
All
like that
right,
so much.
so we're prepping because people are coming, obviously, because it's Halloween. So we're gonna get punch and cookies ready. So Morticia goes into the kitchen to supervise Lurch and the punch. There's some wacky chemistry that goes on. Oh, because she wants to let the punch settle, which
Mhm.
becomes
Mhm.
important later. Um, in a scene that I found ridiculously funny. Yeah, so she like pours this like there's test tubes and beakers in addition to the like sterling silver punch bowl and cups.
Yes.
Um, and she like pours a test tube into the punch bowl and it turns like inky black.
That was cool.
It was
It
really
was
good.
really
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah.
Like I want some Mr. Wizard explanation about what just happened there because that was neat.
Yeah. Well, it probably wasn't black. I mean, that's the thing, right? Like I know like
That's
for the
true.
Munsters, the wallpaper was pink.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Um so I'm sure it was some wacky color in reality.
Probably, yeah.
I love all that old black and white stuff though, like in the old horror movies, the like transformations where they use like red and blue light.
Oh yeah. Oh, that
So
stuff
Yeah.
is
incredible. Just
awesome.
brilliant. Um so she's going to take the trays. She's got 2 plates of cookies. One of them falls off. She's trying to figure out how to balance these plates and pick it up. Don't even worry about it. thing is here to give you a hand.
And you get to,
I
and
get it.
we had to have it somewhere in the episode. Thank you, thing.
Thank you,
Mhm.
thing. You have to.
Mhm.
So she
I
brings out the.
also
Oh, go ahead.
I forget that in the series, Lurch talks more.
Yeah, I forgot
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
And like he originally wasn't, and Ted Cassidy, I think, ad-libbed a "you rang," and
So-
and it was so well timed, and they're like, we could start using that, and so that he would
Mhm.
just have like a few lines here and there, but his voice is incredible.
So crazy. Yeah, I was not prepared for him to speak either. And he is like, "Yes, Mrs. Addams," and I was like, "Oh, okay." So she comes out, and Grandma Addams, which they did switch up in the movie, because she's not Grandma Addams, she's Morticia's mother in the
Mm.
movie.
Yes, grandmama.
Grandmama.
So she comes out and she says Pugsley and Wednesday are all dressed up. They're getting, they're almost ready to go trick or treating. So just then a police car goes by, police siren. Cut to outside the house. There's a car broken down outside of the Addams family house, which is not as it's not as run down and mistaken for abandoned as 1313 Mockingbird Lane in the
Yes.
Munster.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like the Addams family estate is a little better. Still creepy, but
Mm-hmm.
It's creepy, but the Adamses have money.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They are
Um,
old money.
So-
yeah, who knows what it came from, but it's definitely there.
According to
Line in your pockets.
Wikipedia, Gomez is a retired lawyer.
Oh.
And I mean, like going through like movie lore, it's family money. So I
Yeah.
mean, it's could be literally anything.
He comes from a
given
long
the-
line of lawyers.
Yeah. So a car has broken down in front of the Addams family home, and two men get out, one of whom is Don Rickles.
Don
Yeah, it is.
Rickles! I got so excited.
I
I was like, Rickles!
It was unexpected.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
I was
lost
not
my
I was
mind.
prepared
like,
for that at all.
hey.
Unexpected
hey.
Rickles.
Surprise, Rickles. So it turns out, they are two robbers who have just pulled a bank job. And everything is going wrong because they've run out of gas. Don Rickles dropped his gun like while they were trying to make their getaway. Everything's falling apart. We gotta hide because they're looking for us. So we're gonna go crouch behind a bush
We're gonna go crouch
in the
behind a
front
bush
yard,
in a tree in the yard, right where we
right
broke
outside the front door. Yeah,
With our car.
yeah.
down with our
Yeah. You might as well
Somebody
just
will
get in the
search right
trunk.
here.
Like, what are? And they have a bag. They have a bag with them with the loot.
Mm-hmm.
We're told. So, Pugsley and Wednesday come downstairs in their Halloween costumes. It's real
love
good. It's
these.
exactly what you expect. Now, I will say Pugsley's little suit with the mustache looks very much like the illustrations of Gomez from
Yes.
the
Mhm.
1938.
It really, really did.
Really did.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah, it was perfect.
so good. And then Wednesday, it is scary in this day and age because she does look like one of those like pageant girls, and you're like, oh, that's terrifying. With like glasses, like were they like those, like the X-ray glasses?
They
from
look
the
like
back
That's
of
what they
the
look
comic
like.
book?
That's what they look
Okay,
like,
that's what I
yeah.
thought they were, the X-ray specs. Okay. And I want to say, like, my head immediately said it's a little pink dress. This is a
Mhm.
black and white show, but
Yeah.
my brain filled it in. That's a
Yep.
pink dress.
Mhm.
That's amazing.
I don't know how that happened, but I almost just said a little pink dress. And
We have
it's
color
black and
TV. You just have to use your imagination.
white. I mean, and it is fluffy as anything. It's so
Oh,
cute.
yeah.
And obviously Morticia and Gomez are horrified. 'Cause they don't have a Marilyn at home to get them accustomed to this sort of thing.
Right. Yeah, the weird cousin Marilyn.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
So,
And I did
Fester's
like,
like,
I like
yeah.
Fester being like, "You're gonna have to tell people, do not be afraid. We are just little children,"
I love
or
what
something
they
like
Do
say
that.
it
not be
too.
alarmed.
We are
Do not be
only
alarmed. We are only little children. She has real be not afraid energy. Great. We're ready. We're going to go trick or treating. Everybody's hyped. Open the front door, and wouldn't you know it, there's two men crouching in a bush directly outside the front door. When they hear people coming, Don Rickles tries to put his like nylon stocking over his head.
Mhm.
And I'm like, what are you doing? Well, I don't want him to recognize me. Okay, great. This works out in their favor though. Because Wednesday says like, oh, they have that he has a mask. They must be trick or treating.
Hmm.
The guys are trying to run away, which Gomez takes it to mean that they're frightened, obviously, of Pugsley and Wednesday's terrifying costumes. And so he tells them to say what Uncle Fester told them to say. And they say, do not be alarmed. We are only little children.
It's
In the
very
creepy
scary.
Children
way
of the
that
Corn
only
thing.
children. Children are so creepy, man. This I don't have any because they're scary. I I love when kids say creepy stuff. Though it's my favorite thing. I had a friend, their first little one, like once they had their second one, they were giving them both a bath together, and she said, "When I grow up, I will give Griffin his bath." And her dad said, "Well, when you're when I'm your age, I'll give Griffin his bath." She says, "Well, when you're my age, Griffin will be 2 years younger, whatever it is." And she looks him dead in the face and goes, "And you'll be dead." So good. Nothing is creepier than creepy children. Ah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Wow.
So, Gomez, we got trick or treaters. Fantastic. This is exactly what he's been waiting for. Come on in. We got cookies and soon punch.
Mhm.
And so they're like, no, 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 no. But then they hear more police sirens and they're like, yeah,
Yeah.
trick or treat, baby. Um, so obviously they're like creeped out by everything in this home,
Mhm.
especially Lurch, who is
Mm.
terrifying. So Gomez has apples for them for trick or treat, and he tries to get them to open the bag. And they're like,
This is
no,
great.
'cause the bag is full
It's
of their loot.
This is such a perfect encapsulation of the Addams family.
This is and this is
Mhm.
In
Gomez
this-
Addams 100%.
Yes.
So Lurch grabs the bag out of their hand. And they go to like try and take it back, and this Don Rickles is like, let's just see where this goes. So Gomez opens the bag to put the apples in, their trick or treat bag.
Right.
And wouldn't you know it, the bag is full of money. And Gomez says, Morticia, our neighbors have given them hundreds and hundreds of dollars for trick or treat. And here I was about to give them apples.
Mhm.
It's so good.
It's so good.
So of course he unlocks the drawer on the little desk that they've got the bag on, and the drawer is just full of loose cash.
Mhm.
And he
Because
takes
of course.
because Addams is. And he takes just like a couple of heaping fistfuls, puts it in the bag, cinches it shut and says, "Here you go, guys. Happy Halloween."
Oh my god, I love that so much. Because I loved him being like, our neighbors gave them hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and Morticia's like, such a nice thing
It's
in this
such a-
neighborhood. Like,
It's so good. So every time these two guys try to leave, they hear the police
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, "We gotta stay." And so they figure, since they gotta stay and lay low, they might as well rob the place.
I mean, they got all that cash and probably jewels laying around. Of course,
Yeah.
makes sense.
Okay, so Gomez and Morticia go to the kitchen to finish the punch. So the thing about Gomez Addams is that Gomez Addams, like myself, has a weakness for French. But unlike myself, Gomez Addams has a bit of a difficult time recognizing when it is French. And it will really anything else but English will do,
Mhm.
including Yiddish.
Yep.
And that it wasn't until, because I was a little confused until I did read the Wikipedia summary of the character of Gomez Addams, and they specifically called out the fact that he confuses a lot of languages, including Yiddish. And I went, okay.
The famously romantic language that is Yiddish.
Yiddish.
Mhm.
Speak to me in Yiddish, and you will have my heart.
Oh, Bubba. Come on. So good. Doesn't matter. Works for Gomez because
Yeah.
it's
Mhm.
Morticia. And he's doing that's the other thing, right? Like, I love that this transcends every form that this family takes, right? Is the kiss up the arm.
Yes.
Love it. So he starts kissing up her arm and the punch starts bubbling. I died. Okay. So it gets to about her neck and the punch explodes. Like there's like practically a mushroom cloud out of this. And Morticia goes, "Oh, the punch is ready." And his face, though,
Hmm.
it's so good. There's so much. I'm like, how did they put this on TV in the 60s? This is all very obvious what's happening here.
Hmm.
It's so good.
Just slip that one by the censors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Meanwhile, back out in the living room, Marty is trying to get in the desk drawer.
Mm-hmm.
He's leaning over, trying to pick the lock. Good old thing. Reaches up under his coat into his back pocket / waistband, whatever we're doing.
Yep.
Steals his pistol. Takes it back into the box. And you think that's it. You're like,
Mhm.
Oh no.
Thing took the gun. Very good. No. Thing comes back. Thing takes a banana off
Yes.
the table and replaces it wherever the pistol was. Phenomenal. This pays off pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
So good news. It's time for the Halloween poem. This is like
love the
Linus
Halloween poem.
in Charlie Brown Christmas.
Yeah.
We can't have a holiday without a recitation. Lurch is on the harpsichord. Fester turns down the lights.
Mm-hmm.
And Gomez begins reading his Halloween poem, which is a play on "'Twas the Night Before Christmas."
Yes.
Fester does the light bulb trick.
Yep.
Gotta have that.
So good. A classic.
Hmm.
And there's a lot of jokes about like poetry. I would rather be in jail.
That was good. And then when they take off, and Gomez is like, "Well, it's obvious. They hate poetry."
Hate poetry. But again, still police.
Mhm.
So I guess we're staying. It's all right though, because it's time for the Halloween game.
Yes.
All right.
The bobbing
So
game.
it's a bobbing game. They're like, "Oh, yeah, no, I know about the bobbing game. You go around the big tub and you bob for apples." And they're like, "Apples?"
I love how they get so taken aback by this absurd idea that you would bob for an apple. Like with
To
it,
be
it's so
fair,
cool because
bobbing
they're
for apples is an absurd idea. Like I got
yeah.
bad teeth. I could never bob for apples.
No, you're
Same.
right. It's just it's fun to watch the Addams family do these crazy things and be so kind when people don't really understand what they're doing, but when the
Yeah.
other people come in with their idea, the Adamses are visibly repulsed. Like they're just
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
it's not like they're hiding it. They're like, what? And it's just the greatest because they go from so congenial and willing to invite you in to like,
Yep.
wait, what do you want to do? Steak
No,
made
we're
of
bobbing
beef?
for we're bobbing for a crab. A live crab and a big one.
Yeah.
hmm
I mean, big air quotes around all of this. And so obviously they're not going to do this, right? That's ridiculous. I'm not sticking my face in a bucket of water with a giant crab in it.
Mhm.
Oh, unless police show up at the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Police show
And
up
then
at
it's
the
just
door.
face first right
Yep.
into that
Right
tub.
into the water, both of them. And it's a lot of oh, thanks for letting us know, officer. We'll keep an eye out. So they
I do
leave.
like we're on a manhunt. Well, it's a nice night for it.
It's a nice night for it.
That was so good.
Oh my god, I forgot that line.
Forgot that
It's
line.
so good. It was so perfectly delivered.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a nice night for it. So they pull their faces out of the water. It's like, oh, you both win because the crab has them both by the nose.
Yes.
So great, they won. They toss the crab back in the bucket. And you go, would you like to try again? No, again. I'd rather wrestle a lion. Oh, wonderful, kitty here, kitty. And so Kitty comes walking down the stairs. And that was like a real ass lion.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. They filmed that for the pilot, and then they just reused it every time they would mention Kitty.
Yeah.
They would just reuse the same footage.
Yeah. You only need a cat to walk down the stairs once. And then rewind it. 'Cause
Yep.
that also happened.
There was
So
something
obviously
in
the
the
second-
insurance policy that said only one lion
Just
use.
the one
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
with the lion.
Mhm.
So obviously the two guys yell when they see an actual lion coming down the stairs.
hmm
So Kitty reverses direction right back up the stairs. And Gomer says, oh, poor Kitty, just terrified of people.
And I was reminded of, so Kitty is not in the 91 movie, but there is a reference to Kitty
Yes.
in the 91
Mhm.
movie when Gomez goes into the vault for the first time, and
Yeah.
all you're doing is hearing it.
Back.
And it's I use it all the time because you just hear the bullwhip crack.
Yeah.
You just hear down, Kitty.
Yes.
And
So
I love that so much.
Just meanwhile, Raul Julia is just giving everything he has to the whole performance.
Everything.
Everything.
100% of the time.
It's so good.
So Uncle Fester says his turn to bob for the crab. And Claude, Claude is the Don Rickles. I
Yeah.
forget.
Yes, Claude is
Yes,
Don
all right.
Rickles.
Says he can't take it anymore. He wants to leave, money or not. But not Don Rickles is like, no, I got an idea.
Marty. Yeah.
Marty, who by the way vaguely looked like Thomas Jane. Just
Sure.
gonna say.
A little bit.
Yeah.
He says, let's play hide and seek. Which he has to explain to the Addams family.
They are so confused by this
Mhm.
idea.
You go hide, we'll count to 10, and then we'll come find you. Great.
And
So, they start counting, and everybody goes off. They're like, all right, let's get this drawer open. Let's go. They take a bunch of the money. They're ready to leave. Oh, but Thing locks the door.
Mm-hmm.
So they're scrambling around trying to find a way out when Grandmama and the kids come back. So once the front door opens, Marty and Claude bolt. Morticia and Gomez are still like hiding behind a potted plant. Which, knowing them, they would not just be standing behind a potted plant. I'm just
No.
saying.
Mhm.
And they're so confused. They're not seeking very hard. It's like, well, they probably just want us to win. Oh, that's so nice. So they run off, but then they get caught by the police, and they're
Yeah.
being helped into a squad car.
Yeah, the police are going to give him a ride home.
Yeah, I love that it's Gomez that says that after seeing out the door. He's like, "Oh, they'll be all right." Those nice policemen helping them into their squad car.
Just such
So
an
the next
optimistic
morning-
view of the world.
Mhm.
Yeah. The next morning, Morticia is knitting her 800-foot long scarf.
Mhm.
So good. While Gomez is reading the paper in a yoga pose,
Mhm.
he's got the paper between his feet. And so he's reading a lot of, this war in Asia, and I forget what the other one was. And oh, look, our those nice men, friends Marty and Claude, were sent up the river. Morticia says, "Oh, that's good. They need a vacation." My dad says 3 squares, and they plan your activities. The end of Halloween with the Addams.
I would like to give a special nod to John Aston in this final scene for his ability to hold that newspaper between his feet
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
and turn and bend. Like,
It was
it
wild.
was
Mhm.
impressive.
It was a lot.
While smoking a cigar in a smoking jacket.
Yeah.
And he was like 34.
Yeah, he was younger
34?
than we are now.
Yeah, but at 34, I still was like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, no, my lower back was still
That's the
giving me
beginning of like, ooh,
Mhm.
yeah, early warning signs were showing.
yeah. You were very clearly not in your 20s anymore.
Yes, yeah. Why does it hurt when I wake
Why
up?
is-
Is this what the future
ah.
is? Yes.
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 Turns out, yes. The Addams family.
Man.
Man.
I did take one note. I don't remember where it happened, but at one point it occurred to me, like, if you want a phenomenal example of sharing family culture with your children, the Adamses do it. They have, I
Mhm.
think at one point Morticia said something or like, we're Adamses. Like, it was this
Yeah.
obvious, this is what we do. Like,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
as a family, this is who we
Mhm.
are, and this is what we do. And I love that because it's like they've designed their whole family around this is how we are as people. This is how we identify. And if you want to know how to do it, just watch a handful of Addams Family episodes and
Mhm.
watch them parent.
Yeah.
They're very good at it.
They're very good, and I mean, they're good people. They are helpful. They
Mhm.
are kind. They're just a little weird.
Yeah.
They're just
and they
kooky.
have a lion.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Ookie.
And
All
a
right,
6'9" butler.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there was
The-
that part, right? They're like, "Oh, we should get his mask for our next
yeah.
job."
Oh, they touched
Like,
his
hey,
face.
where'd you get your mask? It is mine.
But the
He's like-
the best part there was the obvious. They dubbed back in the word mask because on set he said face,
Yeah.
and you could see it. It threw me.
Yeah.
Like I had to back it up, and I'm like,
Mhm.
"Oh yeah, no," and which
Yeah.
makes Lurch's joke funnier.
Yeah.
Honestly, if
Yeah.
they'd said, "Where'd you get the face?"
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's mine.
that's true.
Then he touches his face. He's like, "Oh,
Yeah,
that's
that
his
was good.
face."
I also loved Lurch when Marty suggests playing hide and seek, and he's just like, and rolling his eyes.
So
And
good.
then
And
he
he
opened
goes
the
and hides,
closet.
and I love Lurch so much.
They're just so good.
And freaking Ted Cassidy, just like with Bull Shannon. I mean, Ted Cassidy
Yeah.
was 6'9",
Mm-hmm.
Wow. It's
just a
amazing.
mountain.
Yeah. And John Aston was on 11 episodes of Night Court.
Oh.
Yeah.
By the way, I shared it
Um,
with you guys, but I didn't share it with anybody else. Night Court was the answer to a trivia question at pub trivia night, and I would not have known it without these fine people here. Audio listener, listen to this show, and it may win you a gift card at pub trivia.
That's
Yeah.
right.
That's the service we provide here.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Absolutely.
kids. What did we think about this here Addams Family? We'll go backwards with Travis.
I loved it. I had so much fun watching this. I started watching another episode directly after it. And I'm like, no, I have stuff to do. I can't do this right now. But I will be watching more Addams Family for sure.
Excellent.
I had a ton of fun watching the movie last week, and I'm going to watch Addams Family Values here within the next week and a half.
If you have
because I
not
love
watched
that movie too.
the new animated one, you for sure
That
should.
is
It's
that is also
very
on my
good.
list to watch.
Very good.
Because
Yeah, they've made
everybody
2 of 'em.
involved in that also looks great.
Yeah.
Like they always cast these so well because they're different, but they encapsulate the characters so well. Like
Mhm.
Jackie Coogan as Uncle Fester in the series is so different from Christopher Lloyd's Uncle
Mhm.
Fester,
Yeah.
but they're both Uncle Fester, and they're
And Fred
both
core
really
Armisen
is
and
the same.
Wednesday.
the core
is
is
Yeah.
there.
Fred Armisen's
Um,
Fester's like top notch, on the money Uncle Fester.
I
From
will say
Wednesday.
I forgot completely that in the series, Uncle Fester is Morticia's uncle,
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
and then
that.
they changed that for the movie and made him Gomez's brother.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, because that did throw me when Gomez calls him Uncle Fester.
mhm.
I was like, all right. Audie, how about you?
Oh yeah, I loved it. It was great. Had a great time. Like we keep saying, John Aston, his
Mhm.
eyes, I think, is what got
It's
me
his
all the
eyes.
time.
Yeah.
Good lord, the expression he does with just his eyes.
There's a mischief behind his eyes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like Steven said earlier, I'm up to something, but you're gonna like it. Like,
Raul
Yeah.
Julia
Yeah.
is the same way, right?
Oh,
It's that
yeah.
same,
Mhm.
like, yeah, I'm up to something. What of it?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's almost like the way he holds a cigar too. There's like a slight Groucho Marx happening
Yeah.
Yep.
in
Yeah.
all that. That lends itself because he's got the mustache. He's doing something vaudevillian there. You know that you're just like, there's gonna be some trouble. This is a play. This guy's having fun.
Yeah.
Mhm.
How about you, Steven?
Well,
Are you
obviously.
proud to be an Addams?
I'm so proud to be an Addams, and it's so, the movie. I think I'm gonna watch it again because it is spooky season, and I loved it
Yeah.
so much, and I love the show. I don't. I really regret not being into this show more when I was a kid, and like really getting
Yeah.
it. It was just black and white and weird, and it wasn't like the Munsters for some reason was more approachable for me, and I don't know why, but
I
like
think because it's more like there's a lot more just like obvious monster. Like Grandpa
Yeah.
Munster is one of my favorite characters on
I
television.
love him.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like there's very obviously a vampire and a werewolf and Frankenstein's monster, and you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
whereas the Addamses are just weird people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
And
probably
that's
something too to the fact that the Addams Family, the way it's written, like as a kid, you probably don't get it as much.
right.
And as an adult
It's
now,
smarter.
you get it so much.
Yeah, it's a wittier show. And the
Mhm.
Munsters was more like, it was more accessible, I guess you could say. And I mean,
Yeah.
who doesn't love a surf rock intro?
Oh, yeah.
With like creepy element. It was just, the car was cool. But yeah, all that to run around just to say, yes, I loved it. Yes, I would watch it again. It was wonderful.
I did neglect entirely to mention, the opening theme song.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I feel like
It's
it kind of goes without saying. It's obviously iconic.
Mm-hmm.
very
So
It
much
seems
so.
it seems really obvious to me at this point, late in the Halloween season. Like, we have never decorated our house with Addams Family stuff all around, and it seems like that's a no-brainer. And I don't know why we haven't done that.
Mhm.
I need to make that happen next year. Have a
Yeah.
box with a hand sticking out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw
know-
when I was in Salem on Friday, there was a whole family dressed up as the Addams family, including
Nice.
a cousin It.
That's awesome.
Oh,
Nice.
fantastic.
It was very good. I believe that cousin It was made out of a couple of grass skirts, if I was going to wager a guess. And that was pretty brilliant, quite frankly.
That is.
That's great.
It is also interesting because Munsters and Addams Family were, quote, rival shows. I don't know that there was really any kind of rivalry there, but they debuted a week apart in 1964.
I mean, it's
That's
like
wild.
Bewitched and I Dream of Jeannie. I mean, I Dream of Jeannie
Yeah.
came later,
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
like sister shows probably is a better name for it. Different
Yeah.
networks, but the
Oh,
same.
you're
but they
into
all,
this? Great.
Yeah, but they both ran really short. Like the season, they did like what 2-3 seasons each. They didn't last.
2 seasons of Addams Family, 64 episodes.
Yeah, they did not stick around for long, but they left a mark, both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the
Big
thing,
time.
though, right? Like, that there's sort of the two ways to make a mark, right? It's the be really good for a while, or I was looking up, I believe it's Days of Our Lives is almost at 15,000 episodes.
Oh my god.
So, and still going. So, it's like, I forget, it's like 14,970 something episodes.
Yeah, and in those episodes,
Insane.
how many times was Marlena possessed by the devil?
I mean,
know.
as many times as needed to happen. I would love for us to do soaps at some point, but I feel like it would be really, really
It's
hard.
so hard.
It would be so hard. Like outside of like Who Shot JR, like I don't, you know what I mean? There's no like.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to shoot.
yeah.
You have to watch 6 episodes before you even have a clue what's going on.
Yeah. Fantastic. So we've got feedback. Yeah.
We do have some feedback from last week
I
from
love
Hammer
feedback.
Dwarf in the Discord over at
yeah.
toolworks.net/Discord. He was talking about the Drew Carey show, which we covered last episode. Man, the Drew Carey show was a kind of feel-good general comedy that I miss on TV now. Lighthearted, no stakes. Anytime it was on, I could just relax and decompress. Good group of actors. They were all funny in their own way. Drew was somehow able to walk the line between comedian and straight man for all the other cast to play off of. And they all felt like the everyman while at the same time being completely ridiculous. Thank you for that feedback, Hammer Dwarf. I encapsulated it perfectly.
Yeah.
Mhm. You can leave us
And,
feedback. You can come to the Discord. twodorks.net/Discord.
Discord. Yes.
Yeah.
And we have a new
Woo!
way
Good job.
that I forgot to tell you about. We have a new way, twodorks.net/call. /call. You can leave us a speak pipe, which is just you recording an MP3, and it gets sent to me in an email that we can play on the show. It's super easy. It's a quick way to send a voice call, and we'd love to hear you tell us about the episodes and your feelings around them.
Awesome. You can also email us at thosewerethedayshow@gmail.com. I'm not even going to mention that other place. But we're all everywhere, and our social media is in the show notes.
That's right.
So
That's right.
we have one final week leading up to Halloween. We have one final week of spooky shows.
We
T.
do.
Ravis.
We are going to go to a 90s staple for me, and one of the highest rated episodes of this show also happens to be a spooky season episode of Boy Meets World.
Hot damn.
Oh, my
Nice.
word.
We are watching the episode, and then there was Sean.
Mm.
Oh, boy.
So,
I'm in.
yeah, I can't
What-
wait. It's a show that I watched a lot of. I was deciding between a couple of series. I looked at, there was a Frasier episode that I almost picked.
Oh, there's
it
some
looked really
good Frasier Halloween.
There was a great episode of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air where Will gets the family cursed by a medium because he calls him a fraud. The medium played by Glenn Shaddix. And I almost went with that one, but then I decided on Boy Meets World. So, and then there was Sean. I think it's season 5, episode 7 or 17, actually.
Yeah,
17?
season
later
5,
one?
episode
Wait.
17.
But I guess they must have started their season in June.
Yeah.
Currently.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
it's TGIF
this
summer,
episode
right?
aired in February. Don't
Oh.
even worry about it.
That's fine.
Wow. But it's definitely a spooky
Oh, yeah.
theme
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So yeah, that's what we're going to end spooky season with. Is,
Where's it playing?
Boy Meets World. It is on Disney Plus.
Disney Plus.
Fantastic. All right, gang. Thank you for joining us again this week. Thank you for visiting the Addams family with us. And so until next week, for me, for Audie, for Travis, and for Stephen, thank you again and stay spooky.